guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and I'm happy that you're here to check out if you should enroll in the IB program, or if you're already there, if you should stay. Okay, so here are my 5 tips on whether deciding is IB the right fit for you or not. So I just want to start off by saying that this is something I do on a regular basis, especially in my senior year, being an IB ambassador. So basically what that means is that we're the only IB diploma program in our county. So we have a select amount of students who go out and talk about what is happening in the IB and if you should do it. And I've talked to many students about whether the choice is right for them. So I think that some of the things I'll bring up today will really help you decide whether it's right fit for you, because it really is about yourself, and there are other ways to get into these big top schools that you might be searching about. Okay, so the first question that I usually ask someone is, where do you want to go? I know this is a heavy question. I know you might be like, I don't know what I want to do. I'm an 8th grader or I'm a 10th grader. I don't know where I want to go. So just ask yourself this. Do you want to stay in state, do dual enrollment, or take some other AP class, or do you want to be challenged? So this is the way that I looked at it. For those of you who want to stay in state, I recommend doing dual enrollment, because out of state is so much more rigorous, and majority of the time none of your dual enrollment classes are accepted. At least in the state of Florida, that is how it works. So for a student who's looking into staying at their local universities that are in the state, I would say IB wouldn't be the best fit for you. But if you are still looking in to the challenge and the culture that comes in with being amongst these IB students, that is your decision to decide. But it's best that once you know that you're going to stay in state, save yourself the trouble, save yourself the money, and go and do dual enrollment if that is an option. The second point that I want to bring out is the workload. A lot of people have questions, and there's this myth that us IB kids, we have no social life, that we spend our weekends studying, and that we spend all of our lives, 4 years of high school, not doing anything. So a big part of this has to do with your high school, your IB family, and you as a person. So I will admit there are some weekends where I stayed home and I studied, but that was an option because that is something that I felt I needed to do. For some other of my IB friends, they could go out the whole weekend, come in that Monday morning, take that test, and they'll be set and get A's. But I was not that way. And especially if your school, like mine, didn't have anything to do with extracurriculars, or they were not about that pep, we didn't have a football team, then you're gonna have less things to go out and do. And especially if your town doesn't have anything to do, it's not that big of a deal. Like, you can still have a social life. I ended up going out all of the time when I wanted to, and it's really not as restrictive as people think. So if you're scared about that aspect, trust me, you will manage. Another big factor that I just wanted to say has to do with the IB program is your school. What is the school that is offering you that IB program? Because IB is going to look different everywhere you go. At my school, it looks different from the one that's across the city. At my school, it's strict. You don't have your cast binder, which I can talk about in another video, that the right way, then you're not getting your diploma. You're not getting the right grades, you're getting, sorry, you're getting kicked out. So that's just something that you need to think about. Like, is the school that I want to go to, is it okay that they don't have a football team? Is it okay that they have basically 0 to no extracurriculars? Because what opportunities can I make out of the most out of this school? It's so important to realize what school you're in, because those are the people that you're competing with. Those whatever university you apply, they're going to look at your school specifically and the amount of rigor that it entails compared to anything else. So let's talk about the benefits. Let's say hypothetically you do end up at IB. Like, you're like, yes sis, I can do this sis. All right, all power to you. But what is the benefit of doing all of this work? Okay, so I'll tell you. One of the biggest benefits that brought to me was that you apply to college not having to pass your IB exams. This is what I mean by that. I just applied to college actually yesterday. Deadline's January 1st and 2nd. And I'm in six IB classes, 3 higher levels, 2 lower levels, and I took my lower level last year. And what was I talking about? Oh, and the benefit was that I was applying to all of these schools, and the only thing that they saw was that I took the hardest courses that I could in my school, in my county. They saw that I got good grades on all of them, but I didn't have to take any tests. And when you are in the AP program, Advanced Placement, there is a test that you have to take at the end of every single one of those courses. See, that's what I didn't like about that. I have testing anxiety, so every single time one test rolled up, I was like, okay. But just think about that you don't have to be worried about your IB exams to send in those scores so you can get into your school. And that all depends on the calendar that your school is taking, so please make sure of that. Now let's talk about the disadvantages. This is something that people really want to know. All of these 8th graders come up to me and they're like, okay, I heard that, so I'm just going to talk about some of the myths. I think I already covered that we have no social life. The other thing was that we have exams that determine whether or not we get our diploma at the end. And in the end, you are in a competitive school where everybody's trying to be better than everybody else. Some disadvantages that I've seen have happened between my class and my friends is that they've regretted taking IB. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you should take it and it's the best program in the world, because that's not the truth for everybody, especially for me. I loved it. I thought that it was the best program that I could have been in for myself, to be surrounded by people who also had common goals and that I could cry to about everything that was happening and they would cry about the same thing. But for others who already knew what they wanted to be, so let's say my friend Zelda, she ended up doing IB and she did dual enrollment at the same time in the summers, and she knew that she wanted to go into business, but she was restricted with the amount of classes that she could take, and she knew that she wanted to go to University of Florida, and University of Florida accepts those AA credits that you take at our local community college. But being an IB, she was restricted from that and now has to be taking STEM geared classes that have nothing to do with her major. So, and the idea of the EE, writing a 4,000 word paper, having a cast binder, creativity, activity, service hours, and all of the IAs that it entails, it gets hard. And she really regrets it and wishes that she could have dropped out. And honestly, I think that was the best decision for her. Something that I want you to take away from this video is that there are many paths. Something that I want you to take away from this video is that there are many paths to success. I know that a lot of you want to get into these Ivy League schools, which is what I wanted to, and this is why I would sit down and watch them. And if you're prepared to put in the workload for it, then apply. But if you know that you wanted to stay in that state school, or that AP is better for you, or that dual enrollment will be better, then you need to pursue that. And whatever you want to do, whatever you feel like, what type of person are you? Okay? So it's completely, the choice is up to you. But with these tips that I've given you, I hope that you have a clearer idea of what you end up wanting to do. So please let me know if I helped you out. If I didn't explain the IB program well enough, I am so sorry. I will try to make a video on that, but I know that there are several out there, so I'll try to link one down below. And if you guys have any more questions, I am definitely coming out with videos about Harvard, my experience there, how it's helped me in my college applications right now, and about the IB program, and just about my personal life in general. And please stick with me. I know that I haven't posted in a while now, but I'm here to help you because I know that I needed that help too. So